It's a blessing to welcome on one of the highest ranked prospects in Florida State history. He's a part of now one of the best classes in the entire country and Florida State's number one ranked recruiting class in their history. Jalen Warley, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Well, this has been a hectic year for a lot of guys, but your decision's in the books. You're committed, you're signed. We know where you're headed in Florida State. Take us how you feel as you get closer and closer to that.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, watching the guys on TV, seeing them fight day in, day out, I'm super excited to get down on campus and just start one day closer to building a really good team and a really good program.
I think the biggest thing we have to discuss is Coach Hamilton obviously is great, just coach in general, but especially your positions, that guard wing kind of combo thing. He's been getting guys to the NBA now since he's got to Florida State. He's going to get a few more this year too. Just knowing that track record, that development history, how excited does that make you to be coached by him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to get down there and learn from a guy who's coached at the highest level. A lot of really good guards in his time, especially guys who have, like you said, good size, good length, good ability. So I'm super excited the type of player that I'm going to become under him.
You're watching them, and they're having another impressive win right now. People are starting to say this could be a Final Four team this year. What's it like just watching this team, though, knowing that you see these guys, this is where you'll be playing a little bit. What's it like just kind of watching the program play?
Yeah, I mean, this team's super underrated. Like you said, people are just starting to talk about how they're a Final Four contender, but they've had the same team since the beginning of the season, and I saw it since then, and I've been really high on this team. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in March, especially as the conference play is starting to wind down. So, I mean, I think they can really turn some heads this year.
Now let's get into your game a little bit because as I mentioned, there's a lot of these guys that Coach Hamilton develops and all, but they're all completely different kind of players. We see some big guards like Scottie Barnes, will probably the biggest one he's done so far. Jonathan Isaac, a defensive minded guy. We've seen offensive threats. What kind of players Florida State getting in you?
Yeah, I hope to bring to Florida State a winning mentality, a guard who is reliable and consistent, makes plays not only for himself but for his teammates. A kind of guy that you want in the locker room, you want around your family, you want around your campus and your community, and somebody who can really just bring that type of intensity and the winning mentality. Since I played at the highest level from the high school scene, so I'm just hoping that I can bring and be one step closer to bringing a national championship to Florida State.
Is there a former player rather than the Coach Hamilton era or any era before this that you think you play a lot like?
A guy I've been watching under the Florida State system is Trent Forrest, especially his success when he was there, being a leader and playing for Florida State as a guard. So I don't know if directly our game correlates, but there's a lot of things that he brought to the program that I hope to do so when I step foot on campus as well.
We'll obviously see what God has in store for you when you get out there, but I can imagine your ultimate goal though is obviously playing the NBA at some point. For you though, we see some guys are this one done phenom. We see Scottie Barnes, that's what he's going to be this year. But what's kind of your track record? When do you think he might be ready? What's kind of your approach to balancing NBA and college life?
Kind of like you said, it's all in God's hands. So I'm just gonna get down there and work each day as hard as I possibly can, get better day in and day out, and just be around my guys and just win. I mean, because everyone eats when you win, so that's the plan.
Coach Hamilton's a special guy, and as we said, he's an incredible coach. But talk about your life off the court with him. When you're just talking about him, about day-to-day life, whatever your conversations might go, what's this like on that personal level?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Hamilton and the staff, just their personalities and the type of people they were off the court when they were recruiting me during the process was really one of the focal points of why I wanted to go there in the first place. Just because I feel like they're not just going to develop me as a basketball player, but as a person as well. Um, Specifically, Coach Hamilton, he's a really good guy, very welcoming, very transparent. We've had some very heart to heart conversations. I mean, we've talked about everything. So I look at him as somebody who I can rely on to get advice, not just from the basketball perspective, but just life overall. So I can't wait to be around him on a daily basis.
That's what a couple of the guys I've interviewed that's part of Florida State have talked about. And he is that guy that's kind of more welcoming. We know he's been around a lot longer. He's more experienced with people. How's it just like kind of having that bond with almost like a father figure to a degree or someone like that in your life?
Which is like you said, that type of figure off the court is kind of just how I'm gonna mimic it on the court because I have to be extension of him as a point guard. So I mean, kind of just shows like the full circle of a role and how important a head coach is in a player's development. So I'm excited.
From the first time you guys started talking to today, how much has your guys' relationship grown and kind of what was that first conversation like when you guys first started talking?
Yeah, I mean, early on, a lot of it was about basketball, just because you just got to kind of check all your boxes, get all your ducks in a row. But
Mhm.
as time went on and the process, I started to cut down school, start focusing in on what's important to me in a university. A lot of the ideals and a lot of what his team has stand for, like you said, the experience that he has for years. I mean, he's been doing it for a while. Really align with how I feel about the person I want to become, and not just me, but my parents too, and the people that I keep close with me. Really align with how he brings kids up and how he develops them as people and as players. So just kind of as the process has gone on, it's just improved day by day and conversation by conversation.
You mentioned kind of an extension of him on the court, and it's kind of obviously being the point guard role. Is that something you plan on running? Is that what they've kind of discussed with you, that they want you to be in the point guard as a freshman, or do you kind of plan to run both guard spots? Kind of where's your situation fit next year?
Yeah, the beauty of Florida State is I can just be a basketball player. So I don't have to have the pressure of feeling like I need to be in some sort of bubble or some type of like title. I think a lot of what was attractive about Florida State is that they just want to develop me and make me the best basketball player so that I can play 1 through 4 or whatever role that any coach or any team needs from me. So I think that's one of the beauties and the luxuries of playing for such a versatile and talented team.
The biggest attraction is the highest ranked class in Florida State history. You're not the only 5 star. We got a guy, Matt Cleveland, that I think is another superstar kind of player. We know we got Naheem out there. You guys got John Butler. A lot of talent in this group. How special is this recruiting class, though?
I think it's gonna be really special. I mean, I said it when I committed, but I do think members of this class will raise a national championship trophy before it's all said and done. And I think as time has gone on after I committed, just seeing all the guys just continue to improve. I mean, a lot of people aren't playing, and a lot of people, have like difficult situations in terms of the whole pandemic. But I just have seen the guys just continuing to get better, staying in the gym, and just keeping their foot on the gas. So it's really good to just see that those guys have the same mentality as me. So I'm super excited to get down there and be around those guys.
Would you say is any one of the guys also in your class that you talk to more than the other one, or are they all pretty much equal right now?
I mean, everything's equal. I mean, we're a family, you know what I mean? So we kind of keep it consistent, check in with each other from time to time. But yeah, I mean, everything's equal. We're one family, so we're together.
When you talk about the big men, you guys are going to have a total of 3 next year, most likely on the roster. 2 are 7 foot or above in your own class. That's going to be a lot of height. It's going to help you out, rim protecting, just size on the team. What's it going to be like playing with that many tall guys, 7 footers on your roster?
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. I mean, especially those guys who not only tall, but they're super smart, athletic, will be able to catch lobs, make my life a whole lot easier. So yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of fun, especially because I played with some pretty talented big men at the high school level. But um, I'll be very curious to see what Florida State has in store because I know we have a lot of talented bigs who can do a lot of different things. So it'll be good.
The duo I'm most excited for, especially, is I think obviously the big man would be great too, but just the duo, you and Matt Cleveland are going to be something special together. As the dynamic duo, you two, what could you two accomplish together, and how special will you two be when you guys are on the court together?
Yeah, I think we could be really special, especially because a lot of what he does well complements my abilities, and a lot of what I do well can bring out some of his best attributes. So I think with my ability to drive and find him on the wing, with him being a good decision maker, somebody who can be a spot up shooter, or he can drive it, or he can come off a ball screen, or he can do a lot of different things. So I think that will open up the court for both of us and make us a lot better of a team.
Did you guys start talking to each other prior to you guys were committing, or were you guys kind of in the mix talking before you guys both commit?
Yeah, I mean, I checked in, but a lot of it was just off the basis of kind of his abilities on the court and
Mhm.
kind of how special of a player he is. I mean, it's visible when you watch him on film, and a lot of those talks are with the coaching staff about how we would complement each other and how we could both be corner pieces to the program. So, I mean, it was visual the first time I saw him play that we could be a really good duo.
Originally, this class had another superstar in the group, Bryce McGowens. He obviously moved on to different routes, but originally, were you aware that his class were going to move on, or were you guys kind of expecting to all be together on the same team?
Um, I didn't really know until everyone else knew.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I was excited to play with him, but I think he had to make the best decision for him and had to found a really good program. So I'm still going to be following up on him and seeing how he does at his next stop.
Your final 6 came down to a lot of big time schools across the country, a couple of different possible reunions, different players, and plenty of teammates you had in high school. But What ultimately went down to the decision? Why are those the six schools that made the final group?
Yeah, I felt like those six schools were the most consistent throughout my recruiting process. I felt like I knew that I had six very different options that brought a lot of different things to the table in terms of their playing style, where they're located, the type of system that they run. So I kind of wanted to bring that option and the versatility to my six. But I think what I would say that they all have in common is that they were consistent with me throughout the recruiting process.
You're narrowing it down, rather just be by yourself with your inner circle. Was there another school that came out to number two, number three for you?
Uh, not so specifically. I mean, I think throughout the process there were schools that I were looking at or leaning towards, but I don't ever think I had like a true list because I just feel like Florida State always kind of established himself ahead of the pack. I mean, from day one, honestly. So I don't really have a two or three, no backup option.
And there was not really any Bisbee. No, COVID had a massive effect on everyone. How were you able to choose that this was the right school without really seeing the campus during the recruiting process?
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, I wasn't able to get on campus or really be able to see anything with my own eyes. So a lot of it was just based off having these phone conversations and these Zoom meetings, and it really gave me opportunity to meet these coaches off the court
Mhm.
to that point. So I was able to actually, get to know them, have some really good conversations about them, their family, about what they enjoy to do in their free time. So I think it was a blessing in disguise to have the opportunity to get so close to so many really good coaches and really good people. So it really helped throughout the decision to be able to have these conversations and get to know them on a personal level.
You weren't always this highly recruited player, highly known player. Really kind of set in more towards the beginning of your sophomore year, midway through, and then really blew up during last season. What's it been like though, kind of having that chip on your shoulder? How have you kind of balanced that out and kind of grew into becoming the player you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I trusted the process. I mean, I continued to be consistent, do the same thing day in and day out. Trust my coaches and my teammates because those are the people that got me here, and just continuing to get better every day. Kind of just was the formula for me, just to try to continue, just go in the same trajectory of upward and just be a better version of myself each and every day.
You chose to go to a school where you're maybe not going to get a lot of playing time right away. It's known as more of a powerhouse out there, Westtown. Why did you want to take that route?
I feel like it was some of the best competition in the area, and that I was going to be able to play at the highest level. And waiting and learning behind players who were better than me never really intimidated me. I kind of saw it as like a opportunity to learn from people that are in a position that I want to see myself in, in a couple years, whether there's 2 or 3 years. So I took it less as a intimidating factor, but more as a challenge and a learning opportunity. So I think that's what really drew me out to want to go to Westtown and make the decision to go to that school.
Last year was a special year for you, and what might probably be your only full last season you're going to have at high school. 24 and 7, seven straight friends leagues. You have a lot of big time teammates as well last year. But just take us through last year. What was that year like, blowing up for yourself, but just really having success as the team in whole?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was a very special experience for me just to be able to see all the recognition that not I was getting, but just my team, just from being good basketball players, being good people, and just kind of just seeing how many good things can come into your life just from keeping those two things in mind and being those two things on a consistent basis. I mean, I feel like last year's team was one of the best basketball experiences I've ever had personally, but it was just something that was really fun and that I'll remember for a really long time.
Heading this year, we knew that you guys were in the mix as a top 10 team, top five team. Like you guys were up there in that mix. We know this year probably isn't going to go as smoothly. You guys have had like Frank go up and play at Oregon now, but if everyone would have been able to stay, it's no COVID effect. How special would this team have been?
Scary. I think, especially giving us opportunity to gel under each other. Like you said, I mean, last year's team had a lot of talented guys, but it was a really big opportunity for a lot of kids on our team that were ready to step up. And it's unfortunate that we don't get the opportunity, but we're still working every day. We just started practicing and all, so we're still getting the same amount of work, but it's kind of just what if situation. If Frank would have stayed in the whole COVID situation, wouldn't have been a factor.
And Derek's a guy that I'm really high on. I think not a lot of people have got to know him yet because of not having AU season, this kind of big year for a lot of guys. But how special is Dereck? What is he capable of doing in the future?
Yeah, I think he's the most underrated player, regardless of class. I think he was slept on last year. I think he was on a really good team last year, so it was easy to kind of not see how good he was in all of his talent. But I think this year, when people see him and kind of just see how much better he gets every day, he keeps his head down, continues to grind, get bigger, get stronger. I mean, I think he's going to be a top 10 player in his class. I think he already is. He has the talent. I think he just has to, open up everybody's eyes. So people will see very soon how good Dereck Lively is.
Absolutely. Well, you were also going with AAU if that would have happened with Team Durant. You guys had a loaded team this year, potentially even favorites to come away with it all, Peach Jam. But just take us through that team and what was that team would have been like if you guys had a full year?
Yeah, it was going to be a really good year. I mean, we had a lot of depth. I mean, we had a lot of really talented players from different teams, different areas who bring a lot of different things. So I think our versatility alone would have been something that we would have leaned on. We had a lot of length, a lot of people who could score the ball, a lot of people who could pass the ball. So I think if we would have been able to get out on the circuit, I think we would have turned a lot of heads and won a lot of basketball games.
There were two big events you've been a part of in the past few months, one of which was Slam 16. I know that was a big show, a lot of big time players in that game. Just take us through what that was like.
Yeah, it was a really good experience. Very well run event. A lot of talented players, a lot of really good kids. I think it was just good just to be out there. You know what I mean? Just being able to get up and down with a lot of people who are really talented and really good, and just playing some good basketball. It kind of just reminds you of what it was like before the whole COVID. So it was definitely a highlight of my fall and a really good experience overall.
There were some characters out there, and we saw one guy. Rasul obviously had a little mixed spot all the time. He just trash talking, but you get in those atmospheres, and you know those guys are going to be trash talking, having fun. Who was the funniest guy or the best trash talker on that court, though?
Definitely Sewell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was definitely the best trash talker. He's definitely funny.
Would you say you ever get into it with him a little bit, or you just let him kind of keep talking by himself?
Nah, I don't usually talk on the court. I mean, I'll definitely laugh
Mm-hmm.
because some of the jokes were hilarious. But I try to keep myself out of that. Just keep my head down and just get on to the next play.
That's a different mentality for some guys. Some guys obviously like going back and forth with each other. Some guys do stay locked in and quiet on the court. What kind of led you to that kind of personality?
Just kind of just having the whole poker face mentality of kind of just the defender only knows what you show them. So whether you're upset, whether you're frustrated, that's all really a mental block, and it doesn't really become physical until you show it or until you show some type of difference or emotion. So I kind of just look at it from a game perspective and a competitor's perspective of just not trying to give my defender or anybody else in the court any type of advantage, honestly. So, but it developed very young. I mean, I've been doing it since I was I've come into that identity. I mean, when I was younger, probably about in middle school, that's kind of just the type of kid I wanted to be on the court, type of demeanor I wanted to have.
Another example where you able to go out there to Pangos, came to Arizona. What was that environment like?
Yeah, it was a really good environment. A lot of really good players, a lot of the best in the country. It was a very good event, well run. I think it was just also good just to get back up and down, especially with people from different areas, different play styles, different type of games, different type of athleticism down there than you're used to. So I definitely think it was a really good learning experience for me.
One of the biggest things that you're playing against guys that are the best of the best from all over the country. You got guy like Jabari out there, Paulo, guys ranked in front, behind you. When you get in those kind of experiences and you know those guys that people might view as higher ranked than you, better than you, how does your mentality switch in those type of games?
I try to not let it control me, but kind of be a driver, a motivational factor. I try not to get consumed of worrying just about myself in those type of games because it's really easy to fall into that trap of just worrying about yourself and not about winning. So I try my best to stay away from it, but just use it as an additional fuel or motivation when I'm out there.
I mentioned earlier you were really underrated for majority of your career up until last year, but if we go to sophomore year, you're sitting only with the Howard offer at the time. Would you see yourself becoming this guy that the whole country knows, a five-star recruit, one of the highest commits in the program history?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, personally, if you would ask me at the time, I probably wouldn't have. But the people I surround myself with, the circle that I've been blessed to be able to have around me, always encouraged me and kind of always saw this in me. And then to see it come to fruition was really special. Just to be able to, feel like I can pay back all the people who invested time in me and believed in me. So I didn't see it, but my coaches and the people around me definitely saw it.
When did it click for you? When did you start feeling that, okay, I really am this kind of guy. I think I can be one of the best players in the entire country?
I think along my junior year, but I think people have been trying to tell me that for a while, that I have a lot of untapped potential that I was ready to kind of step into and kind of transition from my sophomore year to my junior year as more of a leader on the team and a upperclassman. It kind of just allowed me to make that jump, especially playing with a really good team last year. It just gave me room to kind of just learn and get better every day in practice because of all the talent that's in my own gym just from scrimmaging and playing my own teammates. So I think it just all kind of came together at the right time.
The family atmosphere you've been able to grow up into has to be huge when you have a dad that played college basketball. Your uncle played there at St. John's as well. What's this been like kind of having that basketball run your blood?
It's contagious. I mean, I grew up around it. A lot of the people that have given me really good life advice, mentors, or somehow connected to basketball, or somehow connected to my dad or my uncle. So it kind of just gave me kind of a Philly basketball support system, and a lot of people who played basketball at the highest level to be able to help me out and give me some really good advice that I keep with me to this day.
When you guys growing up, were you guys playing one-on-one games? Had you guys still play one-on-one games today? Kind of discuss those games.
Nah, my dad hung up his shoes pretty early, but he's uh he's pretty set in stone that he thinks he could have beat me when he was my age, but I guess we'll never know.
How about your uncle?
Nope, he hung up the shoes before I was old enough to play him.
Hmm.
Yeah, they stopped playing pretty early, but I haven't really talked about it too much of my uncle, and more my dad just trash talking and around the house or whatever.
And growing up in Pennsylvania, that's a place that's heavy in basketball. We know the history out there, always loaded of talent. What's it just been like growing up in Pennsylvania, being able to play basketball out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity to play against a lot of really good players and not have to travel too far. You know what I mean? Just seeing the same guys in rec leagues, AAU, middle school, high school. It's just an additional challenge. I mean, the higher level that you're playing against, the more challenge and the more you're going to get out of it. Just so since I was, I mean, probably third grade, I've been playing against a lot of these same guys who are, going to these different programs and whatnot. So it just built a type of character and level of competitor in me since a young age.
And you see these guys, I'm sure a lot of them are already going to the next level. You'll be playing them in college. Who is maybe the most excited guy you're play against, or maybe a couple guys that you're really excited to go up against in college?
I'm really excited to go up against Frank at Oregon. Um, I'm really excited to go up against Sam and John at Memphis if we ever play them. In the ACC, and I'm really excited to go against Noah Collier at Pitt. So, a couple guys that excited to play against.
Let's go off a court for a little bit. And that's you're obviously a creative guy in architecture. Take us to that passion for you.
Yeah, I mean, I try to, or not me, but my mom, my dad have tried to always instill in me to have these the versatility to be able to not just be a basketball player, but to do other things off the court. Architecture kind of got my eye when I was younger. Was introduced to it in middle school, and just angles and kind of just all the preparation and the very technical and details attracted me early on. And I don't know, I just have a passion for it, and I've always find it super fascinating. So.
Is that something that we're going to see you do possibly during a basketball career eventually, or something you want to do after basketball? Kind of what's the timeline for that?
Yeah, I don't really have a specific timeline, but definitely something that I will get my feet wet with a little bit. Definitely will try it out. And I don't really know when, but it'll probably come up sometime down the road.
Absolutely, man. Well, a couple more things before I let you go. One of which is discussing a legacy. I know all guys want to be remembered for something someday. So when you do walk away from the game someday, what do you ultimately want to be remembered for, and what do you want your legacy to be for your team both on and off the court?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just want to bring something that is super special and unique on and off the court in terms of the type of energy and the type of vibe I bring around guys. I mean, I want to be a very memorable person who didn't just, affect myself or just worry about myself, but brought contagious energy that uplifted and made people around me better, made their day to day better, brought joy and um, was a really good teammate to people every single day. So I kind of just want overall the person that I'm viewed as after I put down a basketball to be just as good as the amount of talent I had on the court as well.
I know some guys have certain passions in life that they want to pursue, and we know LeBron goes back to his own community, builds a school. We see guys that want to help adoption scenarios, racial inequalities, whatever it might look like. Is there a certain avenue that you want to help out someday?
Um, Definitely, I want to do something with social justice. Definitely want to be able to use my platform and my ability to make change and kind of get my hands dirty. I definitely want to do that down the road, but there isn't something super specific I have in mind. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of that path and that experience is something I'm super excited for, especially when I am going to be able to be a leader and be somebody who's actually in the front line of something like that. So I'm looking forward to that experience, whatever path I'm led down.
That's awesome. Well, my final thing for you, give Florida State fans your three biggest goals you have set for a Florida State career.
My three biggest goals. I mean, first one is win a national championship.
Mm.
My second one is probably to win a national championship. And then my third one is to win a national championship, but win by 20. Those are probably my three goals overall.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate taking time to come on today, and I can't wait to see what God got next for you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
You too.